Good morning, Tiger Breakfast Rotary.
Morning.
Join me in the flag salute, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And Rob, do you mind coming up here?
This is from Patty, and I think everybody can hear me. Anyway, she gave us some background on, when is it, tomorrow? St. Patty's Day? Today. St. Patrick was born at Kilpatrick near Dumbarton in Scotland in AD 387. Does anybody know where either of those places are? Scotland. At age 16, he was sold into slavery by a group of Irish marauders that raided his village and took him back to Ireland. During his captivity, he came closer to God. He escaped from slavery after 6 years and went to Gaul, where he studied in the monastery under Saint Germain, Bishop of Auxerre, for a period of 12 years. His wishes were to return to Ireland to convert the native pagans to Christianity, but his superiors instead appointed St. Paulinus. But 2 years later, Paulinus transferred to Scotland. Patrick, having adopted that Christian name earlier, was then appointed as second bishop to Ireland. His mission in Ireland lasted for 30 years. After that, Patrick retired to County Down. He died on March 17, AD 461. That day has been commemorated as St. Patrick's Day ever since. And then she gives us a prayer that was written by St. Patrick. May the strength of God guide us. May the power of God preserve us. May the wisdom of God instruct us. May the hand of God protect us. May the way of God direct us. May the shield of God defend us. May the angels of God guard us against the snares of the evil one. May Christ be with us. May Christ be with us. May Christ be with us. Christ be over all. May the grace, Lord, may thy grace, Lord, always be ours, this day, O Lord, and forevermore. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Rob, and thank you, Patty. Mr. Secretary, visiting Rotarians and guests.
So, thank you guys for showing up. I'm trying to track, we have some people watching from home. Those who have checked in so far, we have our DGE Joe Crenshaw is on the stream as well. We have a guest from Helsingborg, Landborgen, Sweden. Anthony's watching. Denise Townsend has checked in from the Beaverton Rotary. We have a couple of our members that have checked in as well, so thank you guys for watching from home. And our speaker, who, Natalie, are you going to have something to say later? But Colleen Cleary is here, so she'll be talking later.
All right. Last but not least, the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will build goodwill and better friendship. Fourth, will be beneficial to all concerned. And number five, fun. All right, so it's a little bit different today. You can have a seat. As you may know, for us over the last couple weeks, and as of today, a lot of things have become canceled. So our next meeting next week with the district governor nominee, Jim Boyle, has to be postponed, and we will reschedule it when it comes due. And then also our social is not looking likely, so I'm going to go ahead and call a cancel on that with our new restriction on restaurants and taverns. So Fido's, I know, is looking into options to get maybe some growlers filled and some other food going out the door, so maybe check into that when they get that going. The African Cultural Extravaganza on April 26th. I haven't had an update on that, but again, as we continue on the stream, it might not happen. Ronald McDonald House is happening in a modified way on the 19th, 18th, 19th? 19th. So it's going to be Natalie dropping off some food. There's no preparing on site. There's no interaction with anybody at the house. And coming up, I will be putting together kind of a different type of a meeting format. So I'm going to have somebody pick like a Rotary moment, somebody pick like some trivia for a Sergeant at Arms. I'll find a Rotary International video online so you can watch that as a program, and then I'll probably find a module on the Learning Center from myrotary.com so we can keep you engaged. We'll figure out when we can resume next. Are there any other announcements? Right. And again, a board meeting, we probably won't have one in person this month, but I'm gonna look into Zoom, maybe some conference calling going on for that. And then also the district, because of district training assembly has been canceled, they are looking into webinars online, so we will keep that information coming as it happens. So with that, we will speed right on into our Sergeant at Arms.
That doesn't grant you immunity from a fine.
Nice try.
So we've got a lot of money to bring in today.
Yeah. Pop it up.
Do you have anything to brag about? Any birthdays?
We're here.
Yeah, we all survived the first night
Good.
of the
I'll
purge.
probably get our Tiger Canine 5 in September.
Nice.
And we are gonna promote it big time after we kinda get through this time frame.
Yes.
And a way to release your energies and to have a wonderful time in the fall. And,
It's a great time to promote it online.
it's a great time to promote it, so we're going to make this a big event for everybody to get back out and co-mingle again in the fall.
What day is it? What day is it?
September 19th
September
On
19th
Saturday.
at Cook Park.
at Cook Park. Co-mingle with your friends in the fall.
Great. Yeah, no more social distancing by then.
That
Just
we're gonna-
long
we're
distance
gonna
running.
run
Yes.
Hand in hand down the pathways.
Great. Anything else? All right. Well, today is St. Patrick's Day. I'm filling in for our brave Sergeant at Arms, who I believe is watching from home. So, Mike sent me some facts about St. Patrick's Day to share with everybody.
We still
Um,
have grown. We still
what's that?
collectively grown.
Yeah. 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 Treat me like you would treat him. So, there's enough of us here. I think I could ask a few questions. Feel free to pay up whatever you feel is necessary. I also have some pictures of my time and my relationship with St. Patrick. He's a special man in Irish history. So I studied there my last year of college over the summer. So I'll have some pictures to share as well. But I'll get started. So, thank you for wearing green.
All about it.
Why, according to legend, do leprechauns wear green?
So they can hide in the grass.
That's correct. It says they wear green for camouflage.
That's why you can't see it.
So they can't be found. So you are correct. You are safe.
Yes.
Mark's safe.
Yes, during the coronavirus. Natalie, what slancha means? You go out drinking for St. Patrick's Day, you hear everybody say this. What does it mean?
That when you have a hangover, so the next day you want to eat a big, heavy-duty slancha.
Creative answer. A lot of people think it means cheers.
Oh,
It's not. It's actually for health.
gotcha.
Good health, yes.
Boy, very appropriate.
Right?
Oh, here it is. So this is Croagh Patrick. This is the holy mountain in Ireland. This is St. Patrick's Mountain. So on one of my days off, I got the chance to go climb the mountain. You can tell it was not the nicest of days since the top is in complete fog.
Is that where the Browning Stone is?
Not where the Brownie Stone is, no. No, this is over on the west coast in County Mayo. It actually overlooks the bay out into the Atlantic.
Was it fogged in when you got to the top?
What's that?
Was it fogged in when you got to the top?
Oh, yeah. So, how does this move? No, no. Yeah, so they have a pilgrimage here every year. I guess this is a holy spot because St. Patrick fasted for 40 days and nights at the top, and they have a little display up there. When you do get to the top, you can go. Yeah, so this is near the summit. You can see it goes straight up, and you can't actually even really see what the top is. But when you get there, you can go ahead. This is marking out St. Patrick's bed. This is where he rested for the days that he was up there. And there's a chapel there as well, so they hold a lot of services. You can go up here, and the bed is kind of behind us over here. So they have a chapel there. There's a pilgrimage every year. A lot of people hike this barefoot to commemorate the original pilgrimage or whatever. So you can go ahead.
Huh.
Yeah, there's supposed to be a really beautiful view of the bay right here.
Yeah.
Ireland.
Could not see much that day, but I made it. So yeah, Croagh Patrick, the holy mountain. Rob, have you heard the phrase "Erin go bragh"?
No.
For it's an Irish saying. It's Ireland forever. Ireland forever. This is. I don't know where Mike gets these. Ted, what thing is associated with St. Patrick?
Leprechauns.
Yeah, probably. There's a lot of things. This says a bell. A bell.
Oh, I was gonna say shamrock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that are associated with
Did he
St.
drive all the
Patrick.
snakes out of Ireland?
That's the legend. Yeah. Personally, I didn't see any snakes when I was there. Didn't see a lot of wildlife at all. It's weird. You go from living in the Northeast, there's squirrels every 10 feet, and I don't think I saw a single one. Let's see. What is served the most served feast on St. Patrick's Day, Dave? What do people eat? What do we eat?
Corned beef and cabbage.
Potatoes, beer.
Those are true. Your friend behind you has got
Corned beef
the
and
one that's
cabbage.
here. Corned beef and cabbage is the answer Mike would have accepted.
You would accept a beer too.
Colleen, do you want a question?
Oh,
You want some
sure.
trivia? Do you know what?
This is the answer.
This isn't going to happen to you, but do you know what happens if you're not wearing green on St. Patrick's Day?
You could get pinched.
You could get pinched.
It for sure won't be
Get
happening.
pinched. Not going to happen today.
Oh, social distance.
I'm keeping my 6 feet away. Natalie, where do leprechauns bury their pot of gold?
At the end of the rainbow.
At the end of the rainbow.
Oh.
And if you didn't know it from this, you would have found it in every Lucky Charms commercial ever.
Yeah.
Lucky
Me Lucky Charms.
The magic and delicious.
Do you know what the name of a leprechaun's wooden stick is?
Oh,
Shillelagh.
What will they hit you with?
That's what your mom hit you with.
I do, but I can't remember.
Ted?
Shillelagh.
The shillelagh. The shillelagh. Rob, do you know what the color green is meant to represent in all of this?
The color you turn when the airplane gets in trouble.
Or at the end of the night on St. Patrick's Day? It stands for hope, which I think those colors, I think, the independence fight as well. So, do you know what the nickname for Ireland is? And I'll go with Ted.
Emerald Island.
The Emerald Isle. Ted's got his Irish history down. He's pretty good.
Not just cute.
Now this one I tried to look up. I'm going to question the source on this because I don't know where this information was found. But Steve, do you know what job the leprechaun held?
Job the leprechaun had?
Who was the leprechaun?
Huh.
More than one.
Bartender.
Didn't he live on
What'd you
the
say?
bridge?
A shoemaker is the answer that is on here.
Lunch.
A shoemaker.
Study.
I guess he's got buckles. I don't
I think you've read your notes.
Last question on here. What is the Irish liqueur that is the most famous all over the globe
Baileys.
for the group?
Irish cream.
Bailey's Irish Cream. So there you go. St. Patrick's Day might be difficult to celebrate as normal, but I hope everyone finds some fun today.
Virtual pinch.
Yes, virtual pinch.
Mike's never received such an ovation.
All right, so our stream did get up to 15 people watching live. I think we're down to 13 now. We did have our assistant governor, Janine, is spectating. And yes, this does count as a makeup, Janine. We also have Arnett signed in too, so we got a few more. So with no further delay, Natalie, why don't we spread off into our speaker?
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here, however you're here. I'd like to introduce Colleen Cleary. She is a holistic health coach I met her at a group that I'm in called B&I. They meet on Wednesdays usually. And she is known for her 5 key strategies to creating healthy habits that are sustainable. So this is kind of a key time for her to be here. After years of struggling with her own issues, digestive issues, low energy, extra weight, she hired a health coach and realized it was her time to get certified at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition and never looked back. I attended her Girls Runaway Weekend last October, and it was just phenomenal, her approach to guidance and health and wellness. She does work with men too, but her key people are women and health and good strategies. So she has an online presence that's very, very healthy. So she'll be giving you her contact information today. And just thanks for being here this morning.
Thank you.
Come on up.
Thank you, Natalie. That was such a nice introduction. I appreciate it. And thank you, you guys, for being here. I know this is a really tricky time right now to try and pull meetings together and all of that. And I just want to give you guys all kudos for pulling this meeting together today, going online and pivoting so quickly with the way things are happening. Because it kind of feels like right now, things are changing minute by minute. And that's kind of unsettling, I know, for a lot of you. So like Natalie said, I'm going to talk about 5 key strategies that you can use to create healthy habits that are going to last and that they don't make you feel like you're just kind of white knuckling it through something that you're not going to stick with. But before I get into that, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about me. You already heard a little bit about how I got into health coaching, so I'll tell you a little more about my background and then we'll get started. So, like Natalie said, I became a certified health coach. That was probably about 5 years ago. Long before that, what feels like another lifetime, I was a stay-at-home mom of 3 young children, and I loved it. But then we needed some more income for the family, so I started going back to work, and I became a teacher, and I loved teaching. I loved being in the classroom with little people. It was magical. But during that time, unfortunately, I went through a divorce. My own health was suffering, so I became a runner to try and cope with the stress, try and just get healthier overall. And while I was doing that, I naturally started looking at the food that I was eating, how I was taking care of myself in general, and I started working on my health. But I was struggling. I was having those digestive issues since childhood that I just couldn't shake. I couldn't get the weight off, and my energy for a runner was really low. So in a running group that I belonged to, I met a health coach and we started working together, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is what I'm meant to do next. Because I had really great success with her, I wanted to be able to share that with others. And I'm a natural educator. As you can see, I like to get up and talk to people. I like to share with people, and I like to help people. So I asked her about the program she went through. It was the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, and I jumped in and I never looked back. So when I first got certified, what's really common for a lot of practitioners is we want to just help everybody. Oh, you've got diabetes? Come on down, I'll help you. Oh, you've got IBS, I can help you too. I'll just help the whole world, right? And in general, I can help a lot of people by saying, I need you to drink more water. I need you to get some good sleep at night. You should be moving your body, and you should probably have some more green vegetables. But over time, my focus started to narrow, and I started helping more women like me who were struggling. And I also have put my focus into helping busy mamas figure out how to meal prep so they can cook at home more and not just be eating leftovers off their kids' plate and downing the coffee on the way out the door, right? So that's been my focus. Yes, gentlemen, I help you too. I don't want to leave you out, but that's kind of the primary part of my practice now. Okay, you guys ready for some strategies? Anybody ever set a goal for yourself in your health and wellness?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And think about it, when you first set that goal, you're like motivated, you've got some hope and some energy around it, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna do this. And you get started, and you're doing okay. I mean, maybe it's a little hard because change is hard, but you're going along. And then life gets in the way, doesn't it? Maybe your boss is a jerk, or your car breaks down, you gotta take the dog to the vet. Things just pile on, and the next thing you know, you're like, oh, that's right, I said I was gonna make it to the gym. Well, all right, maybe next month we'll try that again, right? Or like it's really famous, we set those New Year's resolutions in January, we're killing it, and then February and March, and it all just kind of falls to the wayside. So these strategies, I start every single client with. We start here because what I learned really quickly when I first started coaching is I'd meet with the client and I'd say, well, did we talk about more green vegetables? Why aren't you doing it? You have no idea. You should see my to-do list, and I'm so tired, and da-da-da-da-da-da. So I put this foundation together for people, and I walk them through this before we ever really get tackling what the habits will look like. The first thing, the first strategy, is to figure out what you're working on. What is your goal? And you want to be really clear and specific about it. People will come to me and say, I want to be healthier. I don't know what that means for you. That looks different for everybody. So get really clear and make sure it's something you can track your progress with. The reason you want to track and measure how you're doing is because you want to know, is this working? Do I need to make changes? Do I need a different goal? Do I need to step up my efforts? Plus, if things are going well and then things get off track, because it happens, we're human, then you can look back on the data you've collected. Oh, that's right, it was going really well here. I've tracked all this, I know, and I can look back and see what was working, and then I can pivot and make adjustments or go back to what was working. So, write your goals down and make them clear. The reason I want you to write them down is because it tells you you're serious about doing this action. If you just let it float around in your head every time you're driving to work, you know what, I really need to cook at home more, that's not serious action, but it shows how serious you are if you will take the time to write it down. We're going to talk about the language that I want you to use around writing that down in just a little bit. Second strategy is I want you to think about why it's important to you. Again, people will come to me and say, oh, I've got my cousin's wedding coming up in a month and it'd sure be great if I could fit into that outfit. Okay, and that's motivation. We have all been there. I understand that, okay? But that motivation, that right there, it's only gonna take you so far. As soon as that cousin's wedding's over, then where's your motivation, right? So I challenge you to dig deeper, get some real nitty-gritty emotion around why it's important to you, and it has to come from you. It can't matter what your neighbor's doing. It doesn't matter what you're seeing when you're scrolling through Facebook. It matters to you. So I'll give you some examples. I had a client, she was 76 when we first started working together. She had a lot of extra weight she was carrying. She owns her own business, so she was still working full time, and her energy was in the tank. And her doctor said, if you don't make a change, you are headed for a very scary diagnosis. You have got to pull this together. So we started working together. And she had a real strong why. Fear can be a real big motivator, right? If I don't do something, my life is going to look very different very quickly. So that's a real strong, that holds you a lot longer than cousin's wedding in a month, okay? So think about why it's important to you and write it down. You need to revisit it regularly so that you can remember why you're willing to put in this hard work. The other thing to know about your why is it can change over time. For that same client, after the weight came off and she was so much healthier, she was no longer scared of a diagnosis coming. Now her new why is she wanted to see, oh, what can I do now that I'm healthy? How active can I be? She decided to sign up for a 5K race and run for the first time in, I think, over 30 years. She used to be a runner. So your why can change. So you want to stay connected to it and you want to visit it often. The third thing that I'm going to tell you is I want you to gather your resources. And what I mean by that is if you get all excited about a new goal, let's say it's working out or cooking at home more, but you don't have the things you need to do it, how long are you going to stay with that, and how long will you be successful? When people come to me and say they want to be a runner for the first time, I don't send them out the door in their jeans and flip-flops. I'm like, get to the running store, get fitted for some shoes. I had a client just recently I started working with, and she really wanted to cook at home. Takeout and microwave meals were her go-to, and she knew she needed to cook healthy meals at home. We started talking and quickly discovered her kitchen was not set up for cooking at home. Her kitchen was set up for takeout meals and microwaving things. That was it. So she needed to start there. I could talk to her all day about cooking some veggies. She didn't even have room on the kitchen counter to put down some groceries, okay? So gather your resources. Be specific about what you need and set yourself up for success. Now, there's some resources that I think are really important no matter what your goals are. The first one is accountability. Anybody agree that change is hard, right? And you need someone to hold you accountable. But I want you to be really clear about the kind of person you want to look for. I want you to be selective. If you can't hire a coach like me, because that's a piece to what I do in my work, then you want to think about someone that's going to say, oh yeah, you better get to the gym. Let's say you're going to go to the gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's your big goal. And Monday comes, you're doing great. Wednesday comes, you're doing it. Friday, so tired. Stayed up too late watching Netflix. It's cold. It's raining out. I don't think I'm going to make it. If the person that said they would hold you accountable says to you, I wouldn't go either. It was nasty out there. Why don't you wait till summer? Come on. That person, you can still be friends, but that's not the person you need to look to for help. What you need is someone who said maybe they'll go to the gym with you, or at the very least they'll be like, oh, you better go. You said you were gonna go. Get to it, right? So be selective in who you look to for accountability. I've been a distance runner for over 10 years now, and still on a regular basis, for my long runs on the weekends, I make a plan with girlfriends. Let's go run some miles together. I know that they're gonna be there waiting for me. That holds me accountable. So think about that. The next thing I want you to look for is someone that will be encouraging and supportive, because again, change is so hard. So look to people that are gonna say, oh my gosh, in this time, virtual high five, right? Or way to go, you're doing so good, I'm so proud of you. Again, if you've got someone that's like, oh, how much are you working out? Maybe you should just slow down and eat some brownies. That seems kind of dangerous. Isn't that bad on your knees? Like, what do you do? I don't know that you should be doing that. We can still love those people. Those are not the people that are going to give us that encouragement that we need as we get going. These things are so important because it's so hard. Okay, the next thing I'm going to suggest is having a journal. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, journaling. I'm not saying sit for an hour and do all the writing, okay? You can take 5 minutes and really make a difference for yourself. But this is the place where you can keep, what are the goals I'm working on? Why is it important to me? Anything else you need to be working out as you go through this process? That's where you can keep all of this stuff. And then the other thing that I think is super helpful are quotes and mantras, things like that really speak to you as an individual. I can tell you some of my favorites, but you might be like, that seems corny and awkward. Why would you say that to yourself? But there's lots of resources. You can Google for positive quotes. You can pull out some of your favorites that you already know, but then write those down and plaster them where you can see them. Keep them as a screensaver on your phone. Go old school with some Post-it notes and plaster them everywhere. Change them up often, because what I noticed happens with me is that I'm like, oh yeah, I've seen that. I don't even read it anymore because I already know what it says. So keep it fresh. The other thing that's really effective, use your phone, use the alarm on there. Let's say 2 o'clock in the afternoon is your downfall. It happens for a lot of us. The afternoon, our energy kind of takes a natural dip, and we find ourselves going for that sugary snack, that pick-me-up, whatever, then another latte, whatever. And if your goal is to really reduce that, and you know 2 o'clock is your time, set an alarm on your phone at 1:55 that says, don't you even think about it. Right? Be proactive. Take care of yourself. You know if you're paying attention for just a minute when things fall apart. So make a plan for that. Okay. The next one, the fourth one. Feel free to roll your eyes when I present this one. All of my new clients do. Even if it's on the phone, I can hear the eye roll. I swear I can. I did have a client of mine, I'll share her story in a moment. She's a doctor. So she's very science brain. She's like, give me all the data, show me all the proof before I do anything. Her response was to lean back and squint. And I could tell she was trying to remember, where did Colleen say she got certified? Is she really a health coach? But just bear with me. I'm going to explain the strategy to you, and then I'll share some stories to back it up. So the strategy, I like to call it, who are you? And what I mean by that is that as we try to ingrain new habits into our lifestyle, we're bringing them into our identity. We want them to become a piece of who we are, of how we show up in the world. Now, what happens in the background all day long without us paying attention, our brain is on the lookout for clues that confirm what we already believe about ourselves and the world around us. Just goes on all day long without us paying attention. But we can take advantage of that when we, again, write it down, that we are someone who does the thing we say we want to be doing. And I'll talk about that more specifically in a minute. We're retraining our brain. Our brain doesn't actually know the difference. It doesn't realize that that's not actually who we are yet. So we write it down and we start retraining that dialogue. So let's say your goal, again, was 3 mornings a week. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to go to that class, okay? Instead of writing it down, I want to go, or I'm going to do this thing. What that says to your brain is, okay, well, down the road, but not today, you're not that person yet, are ya? Right? So that gives us that little gap, that chance for a loophole. And I will tell you, we are hardwired to look for the loopholes. We really are. We're looking for the easy way out every single time. So it's okay. We just accept it and we work with it. So we lessen the loopholes, we lessen the decision making if instead we write it down and we say, I go to the gym 3 mornings a week. I'm someone that does this every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, however it works for you. Now here's a couple of stories just to back up this kind of weird, awkward thing, right? Back to my 76-year-old client. One of her goals was to go for a walk every day after work. Now let me tell you, like so many of us, at 5 o'clock every day, she was tired. She owns her own business. She's tired. She comes home for her regular routine, hits the couch, glass of wine. But she really wanted to change that up and start going for a walk Monday through Friday after work. And so I said, all right, start writing it down. I walk every day after work. She's like, oh, I'm like, just try it and then prove me wrong. Come back and tell me how it didn't work. I want to hear it. Within a week, she calls me, Colleen, you're never going to believe what happened. All right, let's hear it. So I hit the couch on Wednesday, and I was like, oh, I don't even know what to do. Oh, wait a minute. And these were her exact words. I'm a girl that goes for a walk every day after work. She goes, and I got up and I put on my shoes and I went for a walk. And I was like, I know, it's this weird, tiny little strategy, but our brains don't know the difference. So I'm telling you, just try it and see. The doctor who did the eye squint, within a week, she's like, all right, Colleen, I really didn't want to do this. I refused to write it down. I was like, all right. And she was tough. She goes, but I decided I would say it out loud while I was driving to work. She goes, so I did. I said, all right, I go for a walk 5 days a week. And then I realized something. I'm someone that likes to keep my word. I don't want to break that promise. She goes, so now I'm walking 5 days a week. And I said, okay. So I got a few less eye squints from during our time together. It was great. So I know it's awkward, but trust me, the least you're gonna lose is that 5 minutes you took to write it down in that journal. And if it doesn't work or it does work, you can come back and tell me about it. I wanna hear about it, okay? I will tell you that I personally stumbled on this technique years ago as a runner when I was still early on in my running. I was going through a patch where running was awful. I'm out running and I'm like, I don't even know why I'm doing this. I don't even like running, which was not true. I loved it by then, but I hate running. This is so hard. I think I need to quit, da 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 da. I'm walking more than I'm running. This is ridiculous. And then one day while I was walking, I was like, well, wait a minute. I'm still a runner just because I'm having a hard patch. Just because I'm having a hard day doesn't mean I have to quit. Huh. I went home and I ordered myself this tiny little charm necklace that had a picture of a runner girl on it. And I wore it every day for a year after that. So I could remember every time I looked in the mirror, that's right, I'm a runner. And I've never looked back. I never question if I'm a runner anymore. It's just a piece to who I am. So your healthy habits can do that for you too, okay? Okay, the last one that I want to share with you. I want to know when it's going to happen. I want you to get really clear and specific, and I want you to schedule the work that you're going to have to do to reach your health and wellness goals. And here's why. Remember we talked about before how life starts to pile on, all the demands that you have on your day, all the emails coming into the inbox, all the things that you have to take care of. If you're not really intentional and setting aside time to do the things you have to do, there's a really easy chance for blowing it off, right? Or forgetting that you were even going to do the thing in the first place. So I want you to think about, let's say you're going to cook at home more. Cooking at home, for those of us that have been doing it for on a, it's a whole process. You got to figure out what you're going to cook. You got to pull the recipe together. You got to see what you have on hand, right? You got to make the list, go to the store, bring things home, prep it, put it away. It's a lot. If you're not intentional and you don't get it on that schedule, because let's say you don't on the schedule, you would have been doing it by now, right? If you had that figured out. So put it on your schedule and block out the time that you need to get it done. Put it on the schedule when you're going to show up for that workout, and then honor it just like you would any other appointment, okay? Now, I'm not going to say for sure that this doesn't happen to guys, but I do find this happening a lot more with women. We are really famous for either not making it on the to-do list at all, or if we're on the list, we're at the very bottom. Taking care of ourselves and the things that we need for our health and wellness is really low on the priority list. We put everyone else and everything else first. Here's what I'm going to tell you that works for a lot of my clients. If you feel guilty for taking the time you need to take care of yourself, then think about all the different ways you show up in the world. As a partner, maybe as a business owner, an employee, a volunteer, a parent, a friend, all those things that you do all day long. If you take good care of yourself, you get to show up in those roles as the best version of you. You're going to show up with more energy. You're going to show up with a better attitude. You're going to show up more productive. You're going to be able to take care of all the things and all the people better if you will take care of yourself too. So again, I don't want to say, boys, that this doesn't happen to you, but generally speaking, I find that women are really good at putting themselves at the bottom of the list, or like I said, maybe they don't even get on the list, right? So think about that. If that's what you need to tell yourself to get yourself to do these things, then use that. Eventually, you'll see that you're worth it just for yourself. But that's a good place to start. So get it on your schedule. Figure out when it's going to happen. Because otherwise, let's say the cooking at home thing is your plan. You can be thinking Thursday while you're driving, oh yeah, I'm going to do some meal prepping this weekend. And then Monday afternoon, you're going to go, oh, dang it. All right, well, maybe next weekend, right? You got to get real intentional with this stuff and get it on the schedule, okay? So those are my 5 strategies. That's where I want you to start. If you're going to be creating some new healthy habits for yourself, please start there. Figure out what you're working on and track it. Figure out why it's important to you. Get your resources together. Get someone to be accountable to, especially in the beginning. And then figure out who you are, right? Start writing it down and making it a piece to who you are. And then get it on your schedule, okay? So that's where I want you to start. Now, I'm going to tell you what happens a lot is that, again, for the women, oftentimes, one of the questions I get is, how do I find balance? Like, have you seen my to-do list? How do I balance all the things? And what I think a better question is, what are you willing to give up in order to get what you need? Okay? You have to be what I have heard called comfortable with your compromises. We can't actually do it all. We can do a lot. Okay, we're pretty amazing human beings, but something's got to give. And if you feel like maybe you just don't have the time, start with what I call a time audit. Take a peek at your daily life. What are you spending all of your time on? If you've got time to go on social media or Netflix or those things are fantastic, but maybe you lessen the time you're spending there so you can reach these goals that are important to you, okay? So now let's talk about how you can get a hold of me if you've got more questions, or if you want to tell me you tried that thing and Colleen, you're crazy, it didn't work, whatever. I want to hear about it, right? You can go to my website. It's ColleenClary.net. It's got everything there. I work with clients one-to-one on sessions to work toward their goals. I offer a free phone consultation. You just get on the phone for me for about 30 minutes and we talk about where you're at now with your health and wellness, like it to look like, and then how I might help you bridge that gap. Okay, so I do offer one-to-one coaching. And then I just yesterday, launched a brand new digital course, which, believe me, when I first started working on this, the coronavirus wasn't a thing. I had no idea it was coming, I promise. But I did know that online learning is definitely an important piece for health and wellness these days, or just in the world in general. So I created a course called Mom Life Hacks. And it's basically helping women with the 2 things they tell me over and over again they struggle with. Meal prepping and planning so that they can cook at home more often and avoid that never-ending what's for dinner, let's just do the drive-through scene, okay? And getting those workouts done on a consistent basis. I put a whole course together. Women can go through this course at their own pace. There's video lessons, there's notes and worksheets, tons of free content in there, help with picky eaters, because as a mom of 3, I know what that's like. So I put this whole thing together so they can go through it while they're at home in their pajamas, folding laundry, whatever. So that's also available now. So that is all that I have for you. Do you have a question?
What about your meal prep parties?
Meal prep parties, yes. So you can go online when you go onto my website, ColleenClary.net, and you go under, there's a services tab. You're gonna see a link to my Facebook group. It's called the Sisterhood for Wellness. And in that group, about once a month, as a matter of fact, this Sunday, are you coming this Sunday?
Be there.
Be there, awesome. So what I did with it, again, I had no idea everything was gonna go distance learning, we can't be together. I didn't see that coming, but it lends itself to that. I started doing meal prep parties once a month because when my kids were little, I had a best friend who also had 4 little children, the same ages. And we were always behind on the housework, and it felt like such a chore. Man, I can never quit scrubbing bathrooms or doing laundry, and I'm tired of it. So we decided we would get together, and we would take all the kids to one of our homes. They'd have their play date, and then she and I would spend time together cleaning that house. So all the bathrooms got clean, the kitchen got clean, and all the laundry got done. And we had fun while we were doing it. I had girlfriend time, music was playing, the kids were entertained, and then the next time we'd swap over to the other house. So probably about 6 months ago, I decided to put these parties together because I thought, you know what, for a lot of people, when you say meal prepping and planning, oh, it's just another thing on my to-do list. Why don't we make it a party? We can decide if we're gonna have fun or not. We can flip our mindset. So I prepare the week ahead in this group. I share recipes and strategies, and then typically on a Sunday, I show up live in the group, and I'm like, all right, let's put on some good music. Let's do this together. And so it's a virtual party. I can't go to everybody's kitchen. For sure, everybody can't fit in my tiny kitchen, but we can share this to-do thing together. So it's been a really popular thing. Thank you for asking. Yes, and I have one coming this Sunday, so come and join us. We love it. Any other questions?
I've got a question from the chat.
A question
They'd
from the
like to know where you're located. Where can they find you?
I'm in the Portland area. Okay, most of my work is actually done with clients over the phone, streaming with each other occasionally, but not for a while. We meet in person.
And your running group.
The running retreat that I host in October, thank goodness, because we're going to be done with this way before the fall comes, people, okay? I'm just going to put that out there. There's a running retreat I hold every October. It's called Runaway Girls Weekend. It is in wine country in Oregon. It is an overnight, although the overnight spots are now sold out. I've got 5-day passes left. You come and we go for a run. I have a phenomenal yoga teacher that teaches a class for us. We do wine tasting. We get massages. We have girlfriend time. It's awesome. Natalie's going to be there. Yeah, it's good stuff. So that's in October, but that's also up on my website. You can find everything there. Any other questions?
Could
Yes.
you spell out your website? Because people can't.
You know I can, of course. But it's St. Patrick's Day. They can't spell Colleen Clary. Just kidding. All right, so Colleen is C-O-L-L-E-E-N. Clary, C-L-E-A-R-Y .net. .net, yeah, not .com. By the time I came around to make a website, they're like, sold
I
out.
think we had one more question on the chat.
Colleen, will your group be joining us for the Tiger Canine 5K? on
I think that would be a
That would be an
fantastic
excellent
plan,
idea.
don't you think?
I think we can throw out a discount code.
Okay, yeah, I do manage a running
Like
group,
diesel
so.
perhaps, a D-I-E-S-E-L, diesel.
There we go. I love it. Yes, let's connect because I
Yeah.
manage a women's running group.
Yes,
So
that'd be
for
excellent.
sure I can promote that.
And it's
we'll-
in September.
I know.
Very
In the
happy
fall,
to.
when we're all going to be ready to see each other face to face so much more. Yes, for sure. Any other questions? We're good? All right. Thank you so much, you guys.
Before you run too far away,
I won't run.
so Rotary International has the Rotary Foundation, which has 6 areas of focus, one being disease prevention and eradication. They've been
Nice.
working since 1985 to eradicate polio from the face of the earth, and we're down now 2 countries left in the world before it's completely eradicated for good. In honor of you coming here today, we're going to make a donation in your name of $10 to the End Polio Now campaign, and you are welcome to join us at any time. We love your energy, and I think it's been a good, nice change for us. So we're gonna
Okay,
be sure.
we're being appropriate, right?
Oh, 6 feet, sorry.
I was like, oh, measuring
All right,
tape.
there you go.
Don't look at that. Thank you
All right,
so
thank you.
much.
Thank you.
All right, and again, our Tiger Canine 5K happening at Cook Park on September 19th, which is a Saturday. You can register online right now at www.tigercanine5k.com. Okay, so upcoming meetings, all in-person meetings are postponed for the time being, so we will have to keep posted online when we're going to rejoin back here. I'll be sending out kind of a virtual meeting coming up, so I'll be looking for people that want to send me a moment or some sort of inspiration to put in there, a Sergeant at Arms true facts trivia thing that would be kind of fun to know, maybe, except for Mike. We'll avoid him for the next couple weeks. And then I'll be throwing in some videos from Rotary International so you can get up to speed on what's happening internationally. Do we have anything else for the good of the order? All right, so with that, I might end with the Irish, what is it, the Irish prayer? No. Okay. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, and rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. And for the last time in quite a while, this will be the end of our meeting.